Good morning. I hereby call to order this 10th meeting of the Pennsylvania Public Utility Commission for the year 2023. I want to welcome everyone that's here with us and those that are watching us on live stream. And now I ask that you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So at today's meeting, just a reminder, it is open to the public and the commission will act on various matters. Another reminder, there's no opportunity for the public to address the commission at this meeting. However, our public meeting motions, statements, and video will be available on the commission's website later today. So our first matter for consideration for this morning's agenda is the approval of the minutes for July 13, 2023. And I turn to Vice Chairman DeFrank, who is the editor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I reviewed the minutes of the public meeting of July 13th, 2023, and move that they be approved as submitted. Thank you.
You have heard the motion to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Yunora. Any further discussion or edits of the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0. The minutes are approved. And now we will turn it over to our Secretary of the Commission, Rosemary Chiavetta, who will lead us through this morning's agenda.
Good morning, Madam Chairman. Good morning, Commissioners. Your various bureaus and offices have prepared the following agenda for your consideration. Therefore, let us begin on page 1 with matters presented by Director Grimola and the Bureau of Administration. It is recommended that the Commission adopt in an omnibus motion both items on page 1, beginning with the assessment of pipeline operators under Act 127 of 2011 for the fiscal year July 1, 2023 to June 30, 2024, and continuing the omnibus to include both items on page 2 and both items on page 3, ending the omnibus with the general assessment upon public utilities for fiscal year July 1, 2023 through June 30, 2024.
Is there a motion to adopt the staff recommendations?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Coleman, second by Commissioner Zerfus. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
Turning to page 4, and matters presented by Director Monahan and the Bureau of Audits. It is recommended that the Commission adopt in an omnibus motion both items on page 4, beginning with the gas cost rate audit for Reimer Natural Gas, LLC, and ending the omnibus with the Universal Service Fund charge audit for the PECO Energy Company, releasing both audit reports to the public.
Is there a motion to adopt the staff recommendations?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Vice Chairman DeFrank, second by Commissioner Zerfus. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
Turning to page 5, and matters presented by Acting Director Hafner and the Office of Special Assistance. It is recommended that the Commission adopt the proposed opinion and order in the informal investigation by the PUC Bureau of Investigation and Enforcement versus Columbia Gas of Pennsylvania and the revised joint petition for approval of settlement.
Is there a motion to adopt the staff recommendation?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Yunora, second by,
I defer.
I got 2 seconds.
I defer.
Okay. Second by Commissioner Coleman. Any discussion?
Madam Chairman,
Vice Chairman DeFrank.
before joining my staff as legal counsel, Stephanie Weimer was employed by the Commission's Bureau of Investigation and Enforcement and worked on this investigation. Please note she has not advised me in this matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chairman. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
Continuing on page 5, it is recommended that the commission adopt in an omnibus motion the remaining item on page 5, the formal complaint of Michelle Duffy versus the Pennsylvania Power Company, and continuing the omnibus to include both items on page 6, ending the omnibus motion with the application for broker of household goods in use filed by Kevin D. Ferguson and Sons, LLC.
Is there a motion to adopt staff recommendations?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Zerfus, second by Vice Chairman DeFrank. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
Turning to page 7, it should be noted that the first item on page 7, the formal complaint of Colby Simpkins versus the Pico Energy Company, has been postponed to the public meeting of September 21st, 2023. Continuing on page 7, it is recommended that the commission adopt the proposed opinion and order in the application and petition for reconsideration filed by Premier Movers, LLC.
Is there a motion to adopt staff recommendation?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Vice Chairman DeFrank, second by Commissioner Yunora. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
Turning to page 8. It is recommended that the commission adopt the proposed opinion and order in the application of Rafael Mendez, T.A., Caporal Transports.
Is there a motion to adopt staff recommendation?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Coleman, second by Commissioner Zerfus. Any discussion?
Madam Chairman,
Vice Chairman
I have a
DeFrank.
statement on this matter. This matter concerns an application to begin operating as a motor carrier of property. The application was initially dismissed by secretarial letter because proof of insurance was not timely provided. Today, I am voting in support of the staff recommendation to provide the applicant with an extension of time to submit the necessary insurance forms. The applicant demonstrated that it made various attempts to prompt its insurer to file the forms, and accordingly, the applicant has demonstrated a willingness to cooperate with the Commission's regulations. I commend the Office of Special Assistance for their efficient and expedient review of this matter. I am always pleased to see outcomes that consider the most effective use of not only Commission resources, but also those of a cooperative applicant. Additionally, I'd like to take this opportunity to remind motor carriers that the Commission's regulations require insurers authorized to do business in Pennsylvania to directly file certificates of insurance with the Commission. Due to this requirement, it is a best practice of applicants seeking to provide motor carrier service to keep records of all correspondence with insurers and provide those records when seeking reconsideration of a staff action, similar to how the applicant provided his correspondence with his insurance in this matter. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Vice Chairman. Any further comments or discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
Turning to page 9, and matters presented by Director Diskin and the Bureau of Technical Utility Services. It is recommended that the Commission adopt the proposed order in the application of Hotwire Communications Limited.
Is there a motion to adopt the staff recommendation?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Zerfus, second by Commissioner Coleman. Any discussion? I do have a statement I want to place on the record. I ask that my comments be placed on the record in their entirety, but I will abbreviate them for your hearing. The case before us today concerns an application filed by Hotwire Communications, which is referred to as Hotwire, by which it is seeking Commission approval to abandon its certificates to operate within Pennsylvania as a competitive local exchange carrier and inter-exchange carrier reseller, and as a facilities-based inter-exchange carrier. In its application, Hotwire states that it will be providing retail voice services to its 7,500 end-user customers using its own interconnected VoIP network. Hotwire asserts that the abandonment of its CLEC, its IXCR, its and its IXC-FB certificates is necessary and proper because they never provided jurisdictional telecommunication services and certification from the Commission for its retail voice service and certification from the Commission for its retail voice services is not needed or required by the VoIP Freedom Act. However, Hotwire's reading of the VoIP Freedom Act is not totally correct. Hotwire asserts that it offers broadband, video, and voice services in Pennsylvania. Under the Public Utility Code, the Commission has authority to grant a certificate for the provisioning of both retail and wholesale telecommunication services and to ensure federal law. While I agree that granting abandonment of Hotwire certificates would be appropriate if Hotwire only offered broadband and video services in Pennsylvania, that is not the case. Hotwire also provides interconnected VoIP, which, in Hotwire's view, supports abandonment based because the Commission has no jurisdictional authority to require a certificate whenever VoIP or interconnected VoIP service is involved. To be clear, I'm not suggesting that the VoIP Freedom Act allows the Commission to regulate the rates, terms, and conditions of interconnected VoIP services or IP-enabled services. It does not. I also note that the Commission already complies with these provisions of the statute by not imposing traditional regulation on interconnectional VoIP today. Nevertheless, the VoIP Freedom Act has expressly retained the Commission's authority to regulate IP-enabled services and interconnected VoIP services when it comes to fees related to Pennsylvania's telecommunications relay service, the Universal Service Fund, establishing switch network access rates or other intercarrier compensation rates for interconnected services provided by a local exchange telecommunications company, establishing and reviewing the rates, terms, and conditions of protected services provided under tariffs, and ensuring public safety through the provisioning of 911 service. Thus, it appears that the Commission has limited jurisdiction over interconnected VoIP services under the VoIP Freedom Act. The statute does not support the provision or proposition that the Commission has no authority over VoIP. Hotwire also overlooks the fact that interconnected VoIP providers must have interconnection and access to the public switch telephone network to ensure that its calls are completed. This is an important consideration because some providers, largely incumbents, have refused to interconnect with other VoIP providers or complete their consumers' calls because they claim that VoIP is not telecommunications. It does not make legal or practical sense to read the VoIP Freedom Act as a complete prohibition on the certification of interconnected VoIP providers, including instances where certification may be necessary for the Commission's exercise of its retained authority. Statutory construction strongly suggests that the Commission would certificate VoIP and interconnected VoIP providers if only for the purposes of ensuring their compliance with the Commission's retained authority under the VoIP Freedom Act. The absence of certification would produce the absurd result of requiring compliance with the law but providing no vehicle to ensure compliance with that law. The fact that the Commission has limited jurisdiction over VoIP under the VoIP Freedom Act does not equate to the Commission lacking the jurisdiction to require certification to ensure compliance with the VoIP Freedom Act. I think that comprehensive consideration of these issues in a regulatory form is better than case-by-case decisions when general rules of future applicability are needed. Finally, I disagreed with the prior Sprint decisions given the absence of a comprehensive proceeding. However, this petitioner has been waiting 2 years for action on their abandonment. I do not think the petitioner should wait until completion of that comprehensive proceeding, I think, is needed on VoIP before we act on their request. And for that reason, I will be voting yes on this matter. Any further discussion on the issue? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
Continuing at the bottom of page 9, it is recommended that the commission adopt the proposed opinion and order regarding the long-term infrastructure improvement plan of Aqua, Pennsylvania.
Is there a motion to adopt staff recommendation?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Coleman, second by Commissioner Yunora. Any discussion?
Madam Chair?
Commissioner Zerfus.
Madam Chair, Madam Secretary, I've motioned this matter. Please add it to the public record as if I'm reading it in its entirety, but I will try to summarize it. On March 31st, 2022, via a secretarial letter, the Commission initiated the periodic review of Aqua, Pennsylvania's Long-Term Infrastructure Improvement Plan, the LTIP, as required by our regulations. For the purposes of the periodic review, the Commission established a 30-day comment period and a 20-day reply comment period. On April 26, 2022, Richard Gage filed comments regarding high water pressure issues with his water service in Chesterbrook and requested that the Commission deny Aqua's LTIP or require Aqua to submit a new or modified LTIP to reduce pressure. Aqua filed comments on May 2, 2022, and on May 23, 2022, Aqua filed reply comments to Mr. Gage's comments. I submit this motion to clarify that it is not beyond the scope of the Commission's periodic review to require a utility to submit a new or modified LTIP when it determines that a utility's approved LTIP is no longer adequate to ensure and maintain efficient, adequate, safe, reliable, and reasonable service. Based on a review of Aqua's LTIP, changes to the LTIP are not necessary to maintain and improve the efficiency, safety, adequacy, and reliability of its existing distribution infrastructure. However, Mr. Gage's comments raise concerns regarding high pressure issues at and near his residence, which I believe should be referred to the Bureau of Technical Utility Services for further examination. Otherwise, I submit that Aqua has substantially adhered to its LTIP. So therefore, I move that the Bureau of Technical Utility Services prepare an opinion in order consistent with this motion, and that the Bureau of Technical Utility Services is directed to examine the issues raised by Mr. Gage and take whatever further action may be necessary or warranted. Thank you.
You have heard the motion by Commissioner Zerfus. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chairman DeFrank. Any discussion on the motion?
Chairman, I do have a couple of verbal remarks.
Commissioner Coleman.
Thank you. This is not the first time that we have addressed Mr. Gage's high-pressure water concerns. In fact, it was on May 16 of 2022 that this commission entered an opinion order that, among other things, dismissed and marked closed the formal complaint of Mr. Gage, the very individual we're talking about here this morning, against Aqua for this very same issue. So this matter has already come before this commission. We've already addressed it. The dismissal occurred at the conclusion of a contested on-the-record proceeding where the commission ruled on the merits of the complaint. I agree, as stated in the proposed order, that it would be improper for the commission to require a public utility to submit a revised LTIP in response to allegations that were already addressed in a prior proceeding before this commission. Accordingly, I am in favor of adopting the staff recommendation and will be voting no on the proposed motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Coleman. Any further discussion on the motion?
I'd like to associate myself with Commissioner Coleman's remarks.
Thank you, Commissioner Yunora. Any further discussion? Hearing none. On the motion, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Nope.
No.
The motion passes 3-2, noting the dissents of Commissioner Coleman and Commissioner Yunora. On the matter as amended, is any objection to taking the previous roll call? No. Objection. Matter as amended passes 3-2, noting the dissents of Commissioner Yunora and Commissioner Coleman.
Turning to page 10. It is recommended that the commission adopt in an omnibus motion both items on page 10, beginning with the tentative order canceling the licenses of certain electric generation suppliers, and continuing the omnibus on page 11 to include both items on page 11, all three items on page 12, all three items on page 13, both items on page 14, and including the single item on page 15, ending the omnibus with the security certificate filed by the Duquesne Light Company.
Is there a motion to adopt the staff recommendations? Is there a second?
Second?
Motion by Vice Chairman DeFrank, second by Commissioner Coleman. Any discussion?
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Zerfus.
Madam Chair, Madam Secretary, I would like to note that the matter on the top of page 14, Pine Row Natural Gas Company, Inc., and Blue Flame Gas, Inc., I would like to be recorded as concurrent result only.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0, noting that on the first item on the top of page 14, Commissioner Zerfus is concurring in result only.
Turning to page 16, and matters presented by Acting Executive Deputy Chief Counsel Screven and the Law Bureau. It is recommended that the Commission adopt the proposed order in the advance notice of proposed rulemaking to amend the regulations of the Pennsylvania Universal Service Fund.
Is there a motion to adopt the staff recommendation?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Zerfus, second by Vice Chairman DeFrank. Any discussion? I do have a motion I want to offer, so I ask the Vice Chairman to preside over this matter.
Thank you. I recognize the chairman for a motion.
Thank you very much. My motion, I ask it to be spread upon the record in its entirety, as if I read it in its entirety, but I will not read it in its entirety. As an initial matter, I want to commend staff for a thorough discussion of the developments over the past decade in the evolution of federal and Pennsylvania law pertaining to universal service for voice and now internet service. This remains a complex and ever-changing process. Over the past 10 years, voice and internet service have both come to be viewed as essential public services needed by consumers. Pennsylvania has been providing universal service support for competitive long-distance voice service rates on networks for over 20 years, as well as a more limited support of the ability of consumers to purchase services provided over those supported networks. Because this is an advance notice of proposed rulemaking, or a NOPR, the Commission does not yet have a record to support efforts to reform our Pennsylvania Universal Service Fund program, nor requested language for implementing those changes. As part of this deliberation, I have set out some broad questions about the challenges of supporting voice and internet networks and services. I urge the interested public to file comments, but also propose regulatory text supporting those comments as well. The areas of additional inquiry include: 1, should the Commission model its own approach to universal service using the current federal approach, which requires a recipient of universal service to construct a voice network that can provide voice but also internet service at federal speeds and requires recipients to stand ready to provide voice and internet service at a required speed as a condition of receiving universal service as a provider of last resort and carrier of last resort obligations. 2, should the Commission's proposed provision of universal service support be conditioned on a recipient providing voice and internet services at federal speeds to all consumers in the designated area, particularly if VoIP and broadband internet access service are classified as telecommunications under federal law? 3, should the Commission alter the current structure in which support is provided in the entire service territory of an incumbent local exchange carrier, or ILEC, service territory in favor of another approach? And if so, how could the Commission do that consistent with federal law? 4, should there be only one provider with a COLR or POLR obligation in a designated area, and how should they be chosen? 5, is it prudent to augment the PUC USF by providing support so that consumers can purchase voice and or internet service to further the federal universal service mandate of Section 254 of the federal law, that there must be comparable rates for comparable services in rural and urban areas, and Pennsylvania's universal service mandate set out by Chapter 30. 6, should a recipient of PAUSF support document its network and service costs in a public on-the-record proceeding to ensure an accurate demonstration of the support to be drawn from the PAUSF. 7, should the Commission's support for the networks and services needed to advance universal service in Pennsylvania continue to be recovered via assessments on services from retail intrastate revenues alone, or should the contribution base be expanded to include revenues from all regulated and unregulated services provided over a supported network, including wholesale revenues and other services, given that the supported network can provide, among other things, regulated and unregulated services such as wireless, backhaul, transport, and internet service. 8, should the Commission continue prohibiting a standalone surcharge on individual consumers to recover the cost of universal service? 9, what mechanism other than certification of VoIP providers can the Commission use to implement the universal service support provisions of the VoIP Freedom Bill and ensure compliance with the provisions of the Public Utility Code and the VoIP Freedom Bill? 10, should the Commission address the issues outlined in my statement in the application of Sprint Communications Company, LP, for approval of abandonment services? 11, does competition remain a valid focus when it comes to supporting networks and services, given that over 95% of today's consumers are served by the last mile network owned by two industries, i.e. the telephone and cable, with cable and fiber networks lacking an open access mandate for competitors under federal law and precedent? I believe that it is necessary for stakeholders to comprehensively respond to the above questions so that this Commission is fully informed as it considers revisions to Pennsylvania's Universal Service Fund structure. Therefore, I move that 1, the above questions be added to the appendix to this advance notice of rulemaking order. 2, the Law Bureau shall prepare an advance notice of rulemaking order consistent with this motion. Thank you.
We've heard the motion from Chairman Dutrell. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Chairman Dutrell, seconded by Commissioner Zerfus. On the motion, is there any discussion? Seeing none?
Vice Chairman, I just want to commend the chairman and the chairman's office, particularly Joe Whitmer, for his leadership on this matter. And I do have a statement that I would ask that it be entered into the record, just simply adding a couple of additional questions to this proceeding. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Coleman. Any other discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, no. The motion passes by a vote of 5-0. On the matter as amended by the motion, is there any further discussion? I do have a statement I would like to read into the record. Today, the Commission takes long overdue action to issue an advance notice of proposed rulemaking to review and amend our regulations governing the Pennsylvania Universal Service Fund. The PAUSF is a vital tool to ensure that those Pennsylvanians who want access to safe and reliable basic local exchange service at just and reasonable rates have that access. As an initial matter, I would like to commend the Commission staff who drafted this rulemaking. It is a clear and concise summary of a decades-long history of a complicated and often controversial matter and asks the difficult but important questions. I recognize that the matter we are voting on today raises some tough issues to which there are no easy answers. As noted in the ANOPR, there is a clear convergence of less total end-user intrastate revenues, fewer access lines, and a diminishing contribution base that undergirds potential PAUSF reform. At the same time, we must examine what is basic universal service in today's world. Nonetheless, our job is to raise those difficult issues and seek reasonable answers to them. Anywhere in the state of Pennsylvania should be able to pick up a landline telephone and connect to a public switch telephone network to call a neighbor across the street, a loved one across the country, or access emergency services when there is a fire or they need medical attention, all at a high quality and at an affordable rate. This has always been the challenge of Chapter 30, to maintain universal service at affordable rates while encouraging the accelerated provision of advanced services and deployment of a universally available, state-of-the-art, interactive broadband telecommunications network in rural, suburban, and urban areas. As a result, I'm glad to see that we are moving forward on this matter and vote in favor of issuing the ANOPR. Again, I thank the staff for their fine work, which enables us to take this step today. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, is there any objection to taking the vote as recorded by the motion? Seeing none, the matter passes as amended by the motion, 5-0. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Continuing on page 16, it is recommended that the Commission adopt the proposed order ratifying the ex parte emergency order issued on August 11, 2023, regarding the Venango Water Company.
Is there a motion to adopt the staff recommendation for ratification of the emergency order?
So moved.
Did I hear a possible second down here as well?
Second.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Yonora, second by Commissioner Coleman. Any discussion?
Chairman, I just have a quick comment on this. As you've indicated this morning, that this is a ratification of an emergency order that we initiated on August 11th. This is a pretty terrible situation for folks that are being served by the Venango Water Company. They've been under a do not consume order for several weeks now. And what our emergency order did was to appoint a receiver here, and that is Aqua, to basically take over the system and to get it back into working order. And I want to take a moment this morning just to commend the folks at Aqua getting on the ground very quickly and working jointly with the Department of Environmental Resources, with the local elected officials, and with the owners of the system to get the system back in operating conditions. So again, I want to commend Aqua for doing a great job and look forward to seeing that do not consume order lifted. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Coleman. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
Turning to page 17, and matters presented by Chief Administrative Law Judge Rainey and the Office of Administrative Law Judge. It is recommended that the Commission adopt the recommended decision of ALJ Hoyer and ALJ DeVoe regarding the petition filed by PPL Electric Utilities regarding its energy efficiency and conservation plan.
Is there a motion to adopt the staff recommendation?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Zerfus, second by Vice Chairman DeFrank. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Continuing on page 17, it is recommended that the Commission adopt the initial decision of ALJ Brady in the formal complaint of Catherine Pittman versus the Pennsylvania Electric Company.
Is there a motion to adopt staff recommendation?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Yonora, second by Commissioner Coleman. Any discussion? I will say on the record, I will be supporting this case, but I would have preferred that it had been dismissed without prejudice. Any further comments or statements? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
Turning to page 18, it is recommended in an omnibus motion that the Commission adopt the recommended decision of ALJ Dunderdale in the purchased gas cost filing of the Peoples Natural Gas Company and end the omnibus with the recommended decision of ALJ Long in the request for reconsideration of the Bureau of Audit's report on Columbia Gas of Pennsylvania's purchased gas cost collections.
Is there a motion to adopt the staff recommendation?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Coleman, second by Vice Chairman DeFrank. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
Madam Chairman, that concludes the regular agenda. Turning now to the carry-in. On page 1 of the carry-in agenda, it is recommended by the Office of Special Assistance that the Commission adopt the proposed opinion and order in the informal investigation of the PUC's Bureau of Investigation and Enforcement versus Columbia Gas of Pennsylvania and petition for reconsideration.
Is there a motion to adopt the staff recommendation?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Coleman, second by Vice Chairman DeFrank. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Turning to page 2 of the carry-in, it is recommended by the Law Bureau that the Commission adopt the proposed order regarding the proposed policy statement regarding guidelines for usage of electricity storage assets as electric distribution assets in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Is there a motion to adopt the staff recommendation?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Vice Chairman DeFrank, second by Commissioner Surface, who deferred last time when we had a joint session. So, any discussion? I do have a statement to place on the record. It's a joint statement with myself and Vice Chairman DeFrank. I ask that the statement be placed upon the record in its entirety as if we read it in its entirety, but I will abbreviate the reading of it. Before the Commission is the proposed policy statement order regarding the utilization of storage resources as electric distribution assets. Today, the Commission considers issuance of this proposed policy statement for comments for the electric utility, industry, and interested stakeholders. Continued advancement in energy storage technology, namely batteries, has led it to become both a viable generation resource as well as a newly viable non-wires alternative for transmission and distribution planning. Because of this, the Commission commenced this very proceeding to provide electric distribution companies, or EDCs, regulatory clarity on the Commission's stance regarding the use of storage in distribution system planning and management. Electricity distribution systems are changing quickly. Distributed energy resources are interconnecting at an almost exponential pace. Electric vehicle adoption continues accelerating. Data centers are establishing themselves in various EDC territories, demanding remarkable amounts of electric power. These factors, among others, have significantly altered the dynamics of managing the distribution grid. It is apparent that energy storage may offer EDCs a tool to better manage these new dynamics. Energy storage can provide grid stability through services such as peak demand shifting, supplemental power, restoration, and voltage support. Therefore, we are pleased to take this next step in encouraging EDCs to utilize cost-effective energy storage as a distribution resource. We look forward to reviewing stakeholder comments on this proposed policy statement. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
Turning to page 3 of the carry-in. There is your motion, Madam Chairman, regarding the ratification and appointment of the Commission's Executive Director.
Thank you very much. I ask our Vice Chairman to preside as I offer this motion.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I recognize you for your motion.
Thank you. This motion ratifies the vote taken at the Commission's executive session held on Tuesday, August 1st, 2023, to appoint Jennifer Barrier to the position of Executive Director effective September 11, 2023.
We've heard the motion by the chairman. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Chairman Dutrell, seconded by Commissioner Yanora. On the motion, please vote by saying aye.
Can I have
Aye.
a discussion?
I'm sorry. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Thank you very much, Vice
Madam
Chairman.
Chairman?
Just want to give you a little bit of information about our candidate for executive director. It's my pleasure to welcome her today and just give some information. As you know, the role of executive director requires a unique skill set, and we are confident that this appointment is a positive step forward for the PUC. Jennifer Barrier comes to us with vast administrative experience and strong credentials. She has more than 17 years of experience serving Pennsylvania businesses and residents. Her passion for public service was ignited at the Pennsylvania Department of Labor and Industry, where she initially served as legal counsel in labor and employment matters. Wanting a broader impact, Jennifer's career pivoted to the administrative side of the government. She served as director for the Bureau of Occupational and Industrial Safety, where she oversaw the administration of building codes and ensured the safety of elevators, boilers, and LP, gas and flammable and combustible liquid installations. Building on her success with having alleviated the Bureau's backlogs, Jennifer was appointed Deputy Secretary of Safety and Labor Management Relations, where she oversaw 4 bureaus that provided vital services impacting the economic security of individuals and businesses and ensured public safety. In December 2020, Jennifer was appointed Secretary of Labor and Industry by Governor Wolf. She led the helm of one of the largest state agencies maintaining over 4,000 employees, 90 physical offices, and a $1.4 billion budget during the COVID-19 pandemic. Jennifer holds a bachelor's degree in political science from York College of Pennsylvania and a law degree from Widener University. When she is not working, she is either walking her bossy poo, I think I pronounced that correct, named PUC, or attempting to bake something delicious. We love delicious baked things here, just so you know, or engrossed in a science fiction book. So I want to just congratulate her and give her a warm welcome to the PUC.
Madam Chairman, is there any further discussion?
Vice Chairman, I just have a couple of quick remarks.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Today I'm voting to ratify the decision that was made by the majority at our executive session on August 1st of this year regarding the appointment of our new executive director. This process, which started in January, took a little longer than I would have liked, but I am delighted that we have come to the conclusion here this morning. I do want to take a moment to thank Bob Gramola, who is serving as the acting executive director and has been doing so now. This is his second tour of duty as our acting executive director. So thank you, Bob, for the hard work and filling in as we got through this process. We had a number of very well-qualified applicants that applied for this position. I had an opportunity to review a number of them. Many diverse backgrounds, some very deep experience within the utility world, some veterans, some folks even within this organization that have applied for the job. The commission typically receives many applicants, and so this was very typical for this type of an opening. And reasonable minds can differ on the best candidate for the position. I do want to congratulate Jennifer this morning, and I want to wish her the very best here as our new executive director. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Coleman. Is there any further discussion? I will add, Bob, thank you for your service. Both tours of duty. Before I got here to the commission, you were in that role, and you were in that role when Katie and I started here, so thank you for a seamless transition here for us. And to Jennifer, congratulations. Welcome you as the new executive director here at the commission. I think your experience at L&I will prove to be a valuable asset to us here at the commission. But I would also add that, you know, we have one of the brightest and most ambitious workforces here at the commission. Daily, I'm still astonished at the level of professionalism and the knowledge and skill set here by our employees. I think you're going to find that very quickly when you come here, that to be the case. So again, welcome, and I look forward to working with you as we move into this next chapter of the commission. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we will now vote on the matter. All those in favor, please vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it by a vote of 5-0. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you.
Madam Chairman and Commissioners,
Congratulations,
Madam Chairman and Commissioners, that concludes all agenda items to be considered today.
Thank you very much. Before we close out, we do have one recognition that we'd like to discuss. In a few weeks, in collaboration with NARUC's national effort, the Public Utility Commission will recognize Digital Connectivity and Lifeline Awareness Week. During September 11th through September 15th, we will work together to increase public awareness about programs that assist eligible Pennsylvanians to stay connected. Available help includes Lifeline and the Affordable Connectivity Program. Lifeline is a federal program, a federal government benefit that provides eligible consumers with a monthly discount on their phones or internet bill. The benefit can be used for voice or telephone, broadband internet access service, or a combined telephone internet service product from a landline or wireless provider. The separate Affordable Connectivity Program, or ACP, provides eligible households with discounts of $30 a month for the purchase of broadband service and up to $100 to purchase equipment needed for internet service. As part of our efforts, more information on program eligibility for both Lifeline and ACP, as well as how to apply, is available on the Commission's website and in informational brochures prepared by our staff. Also, before we adjourn, as Labor Day quickly approaches, also known as the unofficial end of summer, and on behalf of my fellow commissioners, we wish you a safe and enjoyable holiday season. We have no other matters before us. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Yunora, second by Vice Chairman DeFrank. I'm assuming there's no discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.